isolating phonological environment. So assimilation basically says that it's the process by which some sounds influence other sounds within a word, right? So sometimes we have to look at what comes before a sound or what comes after that sound, and then what effect do these surrounding sounds have on the sound in question. So here would be an example of what's called isolating phonological environment. So in Italian, we have the N and we have the igma. So we have tinta, tenda, danza, nero. We have fango, bianca, fongo, tengo. So then the N and the igma are allophones of the same phoneme. State in general terms, the environment of each. So the N sound occurs, and then the igma occurs. So we're trying to figure out what the environment is for each of these sounds. So how do we do this? So the first thing is take each individual, kind of look at the N, tinta, tenda, danza, nero, right? So I kind of put these together where I can see what comes before and after each sound. So we have the I, we have the little e, we have the a. So we can say at this point that the N occurs after the little I, the little e, and the typewriter A. But what does that mean, if anything, right? So let's take a look at the vowel chart to see. So we have the little I, we can see this is a high front tense vowel. We have the little e. This is a front mid tense vowel. And we have the A, which is over here. It's a low back lax vowel. So it doesn't seem to be any general pattern which seems to be influencing the N here, at least what is coming before the N in these cases. Okay, let's take a look at another one. So the N also occurs before these sounds. We have the T, we have the D, we have the S, and we have the E. So we can say that it looks like the N also occurs before the T, D, S, and the E. So we can see on the vowel chart here the E, right? It's a front, mid, tense vowel. But that's the only vowel in those examples, so we can't draw any firm conclusions there. If we look at the vowels, we have the T and the D. Now, these are both alveolar stop consonants, but then we have the S, which is an alveolar fricative consonant. So it would be pretty difficult to try to describe the environment based on that data, right? So I don't think there's very much we can say about the N, right? If we look at what's coming before and after it, we don't really see a pattern, right? The pattern will typically be pretty easy to spot. Okay, so let's take a look at fongo, bianca, fungo, and tengo. So it looks like the igma occurs after we have an A, U, and E vowel sounds, right? So if we go back to the vowel chart, do we see anything here? We have the A, right? So we have a back, low, lax vowel. We have the little U. It's a back, high, tense vowel. We have the E. It's more of a front, mid, tense vowel. So again, we can't draw any firm conclusions based on these three sounds. It looks like these sounds are kind of all over the vowel chart. So there's not much we can say there. However, if we take a look at the consonant chart, and it looks like in all these cases we have the igma is occurring before the G or the K, right? Either of those two sounds. So we can say that the igma occurs before the K and the G. And if we look over here, it looks like there's a pattern here, right? These are both velar stop consonants. They are voiceless and voiced velar stop consonants. So that looks like a pattern, and you can see where the igma is kind of in the same category here. So if we go back to answering the question, right? We go back to the N, And it looks like the N, we couldn't really do anything with that. I'm just going to say that it occurs everywhere else. So there isn't really a phonological pattern that we can predict based on the environments that we looked at. However, so the igma occurs before velar consonants. That's definitely a pattern that we found based on our analysis of the data here. Let's isolate the environment of the S and the SH sound in Korean. Right? So it says the S and the SH are allophones of the same phoneme. State in general terms the environment of each. You might want to pause the video, try to solve the problem on your own, and then you can see how I worked it out in this video. To help us isolate the environments here, let's do what we did before. So let's take a look at all the sounds that have the S in it. You see the word sal, sinmun, queso, kasu, right? So we're going to put these all right here and see what we can see. So we're highlighting in red what occurs before and after the sound in question. So far the S occurs after an L, an A, and a little E vowel, right? We can say that. But what does that really mean? We have the A here. This is a back, low, lax vowel. But the E is more of a front, mid, tense vowel. There's no relationship there. And then we have to go over to the consonant chart to get a look at the L here. The lateral consonant there, the alveolo-lateral consonant, right? So in this case, I'm just going to say that the S occurs after the L, A, and the E vowels, but really that doesn't look like it's a specific phonological pattern that we can make any generalizations about. Now let's take a look at the S occurs before what sounds, right? So we see the U here, we see the A, we see the U here, and we have that epsilon E. So we can say, and also the L there. Okay, so we can say here is the S seems to occur before the L, U, and the E sounds. Again, it doesn't seem to be a generalized pattern. We can see the L in the consonant chart here. We go over to the vowel chart, and we look at the little U, which is a back, high, tense vowel. We look at the epsilon E. That kind of moves over to more of a front, mid, lax vowel. So there's not really much of a relationship that we can say there. All right, so in this one, there's not really any specific environments for the S. At least that's what it looks like right here. So I'm just going to say for the answer here occurs everywhere else. This sound seems to be in many, many locations. There's nothing we can say there. Now let's take a look at the SH sound. I think that there's something here, right? So we have the SH, right? So let's look at what it occurs after. There's only one example where there's a sound before the SH. So it looks like it occurs after the O, but that's it. That's all we can say. So I put the SH that occurs after an O sound. But there seems to be something more specific here. So it occurs before this E. In all these cases, 1, 2, 3, 4, we got 4 instances where that SH sound occurs before the E. The E is a high front tense vowel. That seems to be a specific pattern, right? So the SH sound seems to occur before that little I vowel, at least in Korean, right? So then if we go back up here, we can say something pretty specific now. The SH occurs before the little I vowel. Or if we want to be really specific, we can say it occurs before the high front tense vowel. So that seems to be a specific phonological environment there based on our analysis of the consonant and the vowel sound charts. And that's kind of what we call isolating phonological environments.